So today's topic is getting more loans through SEO. And I'm here with my partner, Mr. Chris Johnstone, who is Mr. SEO Magic himself. Dude, you bring such a really cool thing to the group. It's we in our office we call it the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, where we take these proven strategies and then we bolt on these jet engines and putting the two together, the chocolate and peanut butter together, you come up with the number one candy bar in the world. And so I love the technology and the spin that you bring on these things. And this is SEO. This is some weird stuff and very powerful stuff. So first of all, good to see you, brother.
Hey, great to see you too. Thanks for having me on, Carl.
So let's the first thing I want to talk about is tell me the difference. So there's three primary sources of traffic for me for the mortgage business. So the number, in no particular order here, but like number one for me would be referral partners, right?
Yep.
Good old Zoom meetings, coffee appointments, lunches, dinners, teaching classes, right? Getting referrals, marketing to my past database. I'd put that in there. So good old, and I'm using air quotes here because of new technology, belly to belly sources of getting loans.
Yep.
Number two, we have SEO,
hmm
where SEO, somebody's going on Google and they're typing in loan officer, best mortgage, Portland, Oregon, like whatever,
Yep.
insert in place. And then the other one would be what I would call online leads,
Mm.
which would be the Zillow, the Facebook, the Instagram, the TikTok. So let's talk about just real quickly expected conversion rates of those three, and then let's differentiate the SEO versus the others, and then we'll talk more about some of the magic that we can do to incorporate SEO in our business. So first of all, the conversion rates. Let's talk about conversion rates of referrals, whether our past database agents versus search versus what I would call interruption type marketing
Yep.
through Zillow and Facebook. So give us some numbers on that. Was that enough of that long enough of a question?
Yeah, absolutely. And so it and what we're going to talk about today is a really massive breakthrough with AI and how it relates to all this. So if you go back and you just look at database marketing with what we're doing with the loan officer CRM and going out and using the octopus method of marketing to our database, if you get a referral, I mean, there's a really high chance you're going to close that deal. I mean, in your branches, Carl, like if you take an application, what's the actual funding ratio of somebody if they submit an app?
Well, if we take an application, it runs about 81%. But
Yeah.
but but that's not my conversion rate though. So I just want to be real transparent on here. So I find on referrals, um, it runs about 25%.
Okay.
So if I get referred four people today, two of them are closable,
Right.
right? The other two, they just went 1099. Um, they have credit issues, and we might be able to fund them, just not today, right?
Right.
So half of them we can't fund for property reasons or their situation reasons, right? So that means half we can. Of the half we can, we close half of those. The other half they shop us. They end up not buying. They end up not refinancing. They end up paying cash. They end up come to find out their nephew's a loan officer, like whatever. So
Yep.
about 25%, give or take. So if we take an app, it's 81%, give or take, but it's 25 from raw lead to closing 25%. And that's kind of an industry standard of sorts. I've seen it range, and this is of the people that's got it together, right? I've seen
Yep.
it range from probably like anything in the 20s, you got it going on. You're doing good. Like you're
Yep.
doing pretty good. So
Yeah.
as opposed to online search like Google, any particular numbers that you see? I got some numbers. I'm just curious if they're about the same as what you see.
So, yes, most of our clients are saying in and around like the 10% mark is something that I'm seeing pretty consistently. Like 10% of, the leads that come in are actually funding. Some are higher, some are a little bit lower, but that's in and around the range.
Yeah, and that's about what we're seeing. So and sometimes we're seeing a little higher, like I'm trying to think. Is it the gang Norm and the gang over there? Gosh, it skips me. Anyway, they did a study not too long ago, and they were running like 15 to 17%. And
Yep.
it might have been Dave Holland that saw that too. But anyway, but we see about that range. Let's call it 10 to 15%, which is not that bad. Right? Keep in
Yeah.
mind, a warm and fuzzy referral of Carl's my guy is, 21, 22, 23, 24%. A stranger Googling us, coming in at around 10%, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
Because to compare it to like Zillow and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, what are you guys seeing on those conversion rates?
So we don't even do those ads anymore because the conversion rates are so bad. So it's 1% if you're crushing it. Like if you've got your systems dialed in, you've got AI following up on all the leads, and you might get that number up to 2%, maybe 3%. But that, earned media type lead, again, it runs into a lot of the leads that come from social media want to buy a house, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they can,
Yeah.
right? And you spend a ton of time nurturing those people, answering those questions, or sliding into your DMs. I mean, we've got a friend of ours who generated literally thousands of leads by going, viral on TikTok and funded 6 loans in a year. How much time was invested in creating the content, producing the
It,
content,
it,
putting the content out there. It's hard to
if I
make that
remember
work.
right, if I remember right, it was something like he was averaging, was it 1,700 leads a month, or was it 1,700 a week? Like it was a lot.
It was crazy.
It was crazy numbers. And so if 10 to 12 to 13% or 10% is the number you gave, if that sounds low, just remember that's 10 times better than a Zillow, Facebook, Instagram, type of thing. Because the one thing I thought is, you know, those types of leads, like they answered my ad, right? They
That's
didn't
right.
look for me. I had this push ad going out and they answered that. And I'm not the only ad they're going to answer like ever, right? So they're going to answer every other ad that comes across their way. So all right, so so with the SEO converting at about somewhere around 10%, what you're seeing, uh, I'm seeing a little high, but in that same ballpark. Um, so how do we use this stuff? And
So
is Google the main player in the search engine stuff?
So absolutely, Gorilla is Gorilla is Google is the 900-pound gorilla, but they just released information that is cutting edge and the future. And that's why I wanted to come on the podcast. And again, thanks for allowing me to be here because this is like a siren signal to the mortgage industry right here. This is really, really important. Like if you're driving, pay attention. If you're on the treadmill, good for you, and pay attention. We're about to go through a pivotal shift in our society, and AI is the one that's driving that shift. Like we already live in a different world. It's just that most people don't understand it yet. So they came out at Google and said, we're going to lose roughly 20 to 40% of our search traffic in the next 2 years. So think about that. Google gets over 90% of all the searches on the planet, right? And they're saying that almost half of those searches are going to go away. Where are they going to go? They're going into GPT. They're going into artificial intelligence engines like ChatGPT, like Gemini, like the new Tesla bot. The world of artificial intelligence assistance is here. And there's this new tool, Carl, that was announced. I got one on order. It's called a Rabbit. It's called the Rabbit R1. And it was announced at the CES show. And the demo on this thing is insane. So here's what the guy does. He goes up on stage and he's got this like little orange box in his hand. And on it, there's a 3D camera. So it's got like a camera inside a housing, but the camera can spin around, up, down. It's one of those cameras where you can just like hold it up and it does 360-degree
Okay.
photos. It's got a
Okay.
button on the side. It's got a little scroll screen on the front. And he goes to this thing and he says, I want to take a trip to Spain with my wife. And this artificial intelligence system is connected to his Uber app. It's connected to his travel app that books all of his flights. It's connected to his hotel app that books all his hotel rooms. It's connected to everything. It goes out, plans his trip, books the hotel room, books the Uber to get him to the airport, and books the flights to get him and his wife on that trip in one prompt. Now, I'm not saying that that level of complexity and technology is going to be here anytime soon, but the world in which we're stepping into is a world in which everybody walks around with an artificial intelligence assistant in their pocket. And that's where Google searches are going to be, which is why Microsoft and Amazon and Google are buying every single piece of artificial intelligence search technology that comes onto the market. Like if you get a fast rising startup in the AI space, they're going to gobble you up. Why? It's the new Google. They already see that search is going that way. And just last week, we had our first client that got a phone call from somebody who found them inside ChatGPT by going to ChatGPT and saying, who is the best mortgage lender in Tampa, Florida? ChatGPT responded to that search with their business. They got the phone call and funded the deal. They didn't get a lead. They got a funding from ChatGPT. That's the future of search. So 6 months ago-ish, we had a conversation about AI SEO and about how AI has totally transformed the front page of search. And from that point, we have ranked in some of the largest cities in the US for clients that got in on the beta, came in on the program. We worked their database, we got their 5-star ratings and reviews, fed all the information into the AI and ranked them on the front page of Google. What we're discovering is that there's a couple of new channels that we need to add them to, and there's a couple of unique places where we need to feed that information into the places that artificial intelligence is getting their information from, and we can start to influence what's showing up inside these artificial intelligence engines. So rewind 10 years-ish. We could probably even go back further than that. But imagine being the first loan officer in your marketplace that discovers the power of being ranked on the front page of Google. Imagine being the first loan officer to discover, hey, I can be ranked on the front page of Google. My phone will ring every day. I got to live that in pay-per-click. Like I bought mortgage clicks at less than 5 cents. Like,
I remember
I know
that.
my hair, but like I've been around that long doing mortgage marketing. And that same click today, $40, right? Maybe more. Some markets 75. I mean, it's just, and it's worth it, in some markets. And so we're now at that pivotal moment in technology where the fast movers should not only be looking at, okay, how do I get as many ratings and reviews as possible on my Google search page so that I show up on the map placement, people read the ratings and reviews and they call me, and I fund 10% of those phone calls into deals. Now it's about how do I get proper information fed into the search engines to go into artificial intelligence so that the AI sees you as the industry leader, so that AI sees you as the expert in the marketplace. Because you've got to have content, you have to have a properly structured website, you have to have PR, and you have to have 5-star ratings and reviews. And there's a couple sprinklings of other things that you need in there to really work with the AI. But when it's almost like you're getting paid to get paid. And I know that sounds a little bit weird, no income claims here, but in the short term, get ranked on Google, get in the map placement, get the phone calls, get the highest quality leads from Google, knowing that the end game is to actually get ranked on GPT so that when people in your marketplace start switching from searching on Google to searching inside ChatGPT and Gemini, you're already there. you're already ranked. Your competition has no idea what's going on, and you're the one that has that placement and can hold it for a significant period of time, I think. So that's the future, and that's what's coming. So I know that there was a lot, and I just kind of went on a
No,
nerd rant, but
no, good stuff. So that's actually very interesting. So by being an early adopter on this, like once you're in that spot, it takes a lot of effort to kick somebody off that spot.
mm-hmm.
And so this would be a thing where I would, it's funny you say this about the search engines going to AI, because I would say most of my searching is indeed been on AI lately. Because when I go search on Google, it gives me, well, it gives me 30,000 responses, but realistically, it gives me about a dozen things, and it shows me where to go to get the answer. It doesn't give me the answer. It says, here, go here. And usually I found I'll go visit like three or four, like one will say this and the other one say this. And when I read three or four of them, it's like, okay, I kind of take an average of those, and that must be where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Something in that range. Like if you look up, I don't know, what is the net worth of whatever Brad Pitt? I'm just making, just whatever. Like who cares? But I just something like that. One will say 400 million, one will say 150 million, and then one will say 375, and then another one will say four, and you go, okay, it must be somewhere around there. Whereas on Chat GPT, when I do a search on there, like it doesn't tell me where to go to get the information. It gives me the information.
That's right.
And I really seem to like that. And so far, and maybe it is in the algorithm on Google, I know it can be influenced. At least the paid sponsors, are at the top of the feed, and so then you have to scroll past that stuff. Whereas on Chat GPT, as far as I know, unless you're getting ready to tell me something different, they don't have that, and so it's all, I'm going to say, use air quotes here and say generic. Obviously, it can be influenced because you influence it. That's what you guys do.
That's right.
Um, hey, how do you influence it? Like how does all this? So on Google, tell me a few things about influencing SEO so you don't get banned on Google, and then how does that change from AI? So two questions: how do you influence Google?
Mm-hmm.
How do you influence AI?
Mm-hmm.
And then my third one: what happens if I do it an uncool way by a non-pro and and piss them off?
Okay, so three great questions. I'm a pretty simple dude, so I'll go one at a time until I
Okay, I
forget
wrote
what
them
they
down.
were.
I wrote them down.
I'm just kidding. Um,
Okay.
okay, so number one, how do you rank on Google? So that comes down to basically like a four-part formula. Okay. And the first is content, but not in the way that everybody tends to think about content in the mortgage industry, where it's like, okay, I'm going to go try and create like viral content on social media. What Google cares about is what people are asking. What are the questions that people have? And then finding the best answer to give to that person. Because Google's basic business model is if somebody has a question and Google answers it, the next time they have a question, they're going to come back to Google. Right? And when the question is how to buy something, they can sell an ad to an advertiser to sell something to somebody who's looking to buy something. So Google always has to provide a valid and knowledgeable response to a question. So when you're in the mortgage industry, I would say the majority of people sit down for a topic and they talk about a topic that interests them, right?
Okay.
Hardly anybody goes to SEMrush or goes to one of these keyword tools or even YouTube and sort the videos by the number of views on the questions and looks at what are people actually looking for in my market. Because a home buyer in Chicago and a home buyer in San Diego and a home buyer in Tampa, they all have completely different questions because they're in different markets and they're dealing with different things. So you have to go out and do the market research and say, what are the top three things that people are looking for in the marketplace? What questions are they asking, right? It's pretty easy to do that. You can literally go to the front page of Google, type in mortgage lender in, let's take Tampa as an example, because we're ranked on the front page in Tampa right now. Actually, I just got off the phone with that client. They've already funded 2 deals this month from just by being ranked on the front page of Google, picking up the phone, people on the other side, they pre-approved them 30, 45 days ago. Those deals are funding now. They've already got 2 closed deals this month. So you go to Tampa, you type in best mortgage lender in Tampa. Map placement comes up at the top. Most of the ads have disappeared off of the front page at this point. It's just the map placement at the front. That was one of the big changes that AI made when AI took over the front page. And then underneath that, within the top 5 search results, there's a little box that Google has put in there that says people also ask. Well, what are those questions? That's Google literally seeking the top 5 questions that people are asking in Tampa. If you go use a VPN and go log into Dallas, Texas, and you do the same search, best mortgage lender in Dallas, Texas, it's a different set of 5 questions. Well, if you want to rank on Google, you dang well better make sure that the answers to those questions are on your website and on your Google business profile and posts on your social media, because Google wants to give authority to the people that are asking the questions. That is a huge golden nugget for those of you that are looking to rank with AI, because AI is smart and AI wants to hang around with other smart individuals and promote them, right? So if you're feeding the right information of what people are actually searching for and putting out good, solid quality content that people will read, you will increase your relevance within the search engines. So content is number 1. Okay. Number 2 is backlinks. Super nerdy. Sounds really weird. It's just like when another website links to your website. When the Google engineers originally sat down and said, like, okay, how do we evaluate millions and millions of businesses? What's the number 1 factor that we can use to determine whether or not a site is reputable or whether it's spammy? And it was, okay, well, if another website is willing to put a link on their site and link to another site, chances are that other site is reputable. A link was the backbone for a very long period of time as to how websites got moved up in the rankings on search engines, right? So the better authority you've got on a site that links to you, the better you'll do in the rankings. I know this is getting a little bit nerdy, but I want to provide as much value as possible.
But in other words, so if the FHA website happened to have my mortgage company as a link on theirs, that would be a good thing.
Exactly. And what we've discovered is that the AI is smart enough to understand local networking and BNI groups. So if you can get a local real estate agent to place a link on their website that goes to your website, it almost holds more weight than if you're to get a high domain authority national site to link to you, because Google understands you're a local mortgage lender. You're probably only going to help people in your local marketplace. So a local real estate agent being able to, or being willing to put their reputation on the line by linking to you, they hold more authority to those local links. So what we do is we actually, for our clients, we reach out to realtors, financial planners, investment advisors, schools, news agencies that are local to build links locally, because the AI and search sees that as something that is worthy of moving you up the rankings. Third thing, ratings and reviews. People going on with a verified Google profile, they're real people, they leave you a 5-star rating and review. What we do is we use the Loan Officer CRM, loanofficercrm.ai. We have a campaign that's pre-built. It's an entire year's worth of database marketing, and it starts with a push to get 5-star ratings and reviews on your Google profile. We've seen, obviously I'm going to give one of our best success stories, but we had one client in less than 45 days had over 85-star ratings and reviews on their profile. But I can tell you, even if you get just one, it's better than none, and it helps. Every deal that you fund, you should have a conversation with your borrower before the deal closes. Hey, can we agree that when we get this deal funded, that's worth a 5-star rating and review on Google? They say, yes, of course. Then you just follow up after the deal is closed and say, hey, remember you agreed to give me a 5-star rating and review? Now's the time. They go, they leave you a 5-star rating and review. And the reason why that's so important, everybody talks about influencer marketing. Well, when people are given your name by a real estate agent, or they hear about you from friends, family members, coworkers, people Google you, right? Yeah. Like if you look at the opportunity that you have on Google versus somebody that's going to go out and search you on Facebook, yes, they may do both. But ratings and reviews on Google hold a lot more weight than what you're doing on social. And to be completely candid, as long as you're on social, you're talking about mortgages like once a week, you just kind of put yourself out there as a person, that's all you need. Because social verifies the fact that you're a real person and you're not weird, right? Google 5-star ratings and reviews vet you as a professional as to whether or not you're actually good at your job. So the Google reviews actually hold a lot more weight. And the other, tip or hack that we give to our clients is every time you close a deal with a professional referral partner, leave them a 5-star Google review on their profile and ask them to leave a 5-star rating and review on your profile. Why? Because when somebody gets a referral, they Google you, or they just Google best mortgage lender in area name or any of the hundreds of long tail search phrases that happen every day. They read your ratings and reviews. If they see a local real estate agent that's left you a 5-star rating and review, realtors are dealing with mortgage lenders all day long. That review holds far more weight than a review from a customer. So you're like double whammy them on the ratings and reviews. Then you get the pre-sold phone call, which is why they close so high. So that's 3 out of the 4. And I'll digress at that point, Carl, because I realize that that's like kind of like a fire hose.
So,
Sorry.
all right. So what if I don't know what I'm doing and I try to game the system? What's the pros and cons of that?
Okay. So shenanigans is what we're talking about here.
Yes.
Shenanigans. Don't do shenanigans. AI has a 160 IQ, which was Einstein's IQ in everything in every language, right? It's smart enough to know that there's gaming systems out there for backlinks. Like, just no shenanigans. That's the rule. Yeah. So produce real content, put it on real things. Don't do anything black. Don't do anything gray. As far as like, it's called gray hat and black hat and white hat SEO. White hat is like no shenanigans. That's what you need to be doing. White hat, because this is our career, right? Your mortgage business needs to be on the front page in 10 years. So just no shenanigans in the short term. Because
what happens if I do shenanigans?
You just got to go buy a new domain, shut down your Google business profile, and start all over again.
Because they'll never rank it.
They'll never rank it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't just not help. Like, they put me on page 1,135. Like, they put me literally at the back of the line. I had a buddy that happened to him, and that's exactly, we had to go buy a new domain.
Yeah, we had clients that came to us during the AI SEO program, and they'd been like constantly investing money in this thing. Come to find out, there was some shenanigans, and there was no amount of work or effort that we could put into that thing that was going to turn it around. And we had to, like, brand new website, brand new Google business profile, brand new location, and started from there. And but voila, here they are ranked. But starting from ground zero on getting those 5-star ratings and reviews, it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort to get those 5-star ratings and reviews. You never want to put those at risk. So the point of all of this, Carl, and me sharing everything on what we do to rank people with AI, I'm a big giver. And pretty much every time I have a conversation with you, or we do a webinar, or I do a webinar with anybody else, I give it away. I'm like, here's what you do. Here's the articles. Here's how you put it away. I'm at the point now, this is the first time ever I'll come out and say this. It's like, what we're doing to rank on AI is so freaking complicated. I can't explain it on this podcast because nobody's going to be able to do it. Like, if you run a mortgage business, I can't expect somebody in the mortgage industry to do what we're doing technically in order to get ranked inside GPTs. So it becomes a conversation of not how, but who. And as far as I know, we're the only people in the mortgage industry that can, have a guaranteed ranking in the 3-pack. If we don't, if you're with us for 6 months and you're not ranked in 6 months, we will continue to work for you for free until you're ranked. We know what we're doing, so we know that we can actually hold up the guarantee. And B, we work in the mortgage industry, so we got a couple of tricks up our sleeves that are white hat that can do that. But on this new, ranking inside the GPTs, it's like you've got to pay an expert to do that for you if that's, something that you want long term.
How does it work? So like if there's 10 of us here in Palm Harbor, we can't all be ranked.
Yeah.
Like how does that work?
So what I'm noticing is that GPT is kind of modeling the three-pack format. So it's giving
And
recommendations of
what do you
three
mean by
things.
3-pack? Just real quick.
So when you do a Google search for best mortgage lender in Tampa or mortgage lender
Mm,
anywhere, um, there will be a map that shows up with three businesses, and it shows the 5-star ratings and reviews right on the front page.
okay.
That's in our world what's called the 3-pack, because there's
Okay.
only three businesses, and that's where the majority of the traffic goes. Like almost all of the phone calls and all the traffic that comes off the front page picks one of those three
So you
businesses.
don't want
That's
to be
why they're
number
the most
4. You don't
rated.
want to be number 5. You want to be in the 3-pack. I can see that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so what we're starting to see is AI is starting to model that, where it's going to give recommendations for three companies when you ask the AI, hey, who's the best mortgage lender? And it's all over the place. Like sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But more often than not, there's multiple businesses that it's recommending
Okay.
in that map placement, or sorry, in the response that you get from the AI.
Yeah.
And that's what we're influencing is, which businesses are the most reputable in the local marketplace so that it shows up inside the AI.
So if there's 10 of us, how does that work?
It is the one that has the best optimization behind their profile and the one that has the greatest authority in their local space. And I'll share the, the big hook to it. Getting ranked in the map placement or the 3-pack is all about being hyper local. Being ranked in the AI is about being incredibly well ranked locally, but also having a national footprint that the AI can tap into. So there's this whole other layer that we're doing for our clients. And we've included this in all of the existing clients and customers that we have. We're working on this behind the scenes. That's how we're figuring it out. But you also have to have a national authority as far as like being mentioned in, we talked about reputable websites.
Mhm.
Not only do you do that locally, but you have to do it on a national level as well.
So it'd be the Palm Harbor Times and the Wall Street Journal
That's
kind of
right.
thing. But just hypothetical examples, of course. So
Exactly.
very interesting stuff. So Chris, tell me why I want to do this.
It's the highest quality inbound consumer lead that you can get. And it's not going to go away. There are our consumers that are coming up that are in the younger demographic are shifting more towards a knowledge-based purchase journey.
Yeah.
So realtor referrals are still the number one way that a consumer is going to come to a loan officer and close a deal. But those people are coming to that realtor better prepared, better educated, and they're an online buyer. And if
Mhm.
you want to get in front of that consumer before they reach the realtor, or you just want to be consumer direct, hands down, long term, this is the most profitable way to do it.
It's funny you say that because this happened 2 weeks ago. I was up in High Point, North Carolina. I asked a buddy I've known for literally 50 years, "Hey, where's a good barbecue around here?" He told me. We all know what I did. I opened up my app, "Where's a good barbecue place?" And how does insert in, I think it was JR's barbecue or something like, how is JR's barbecue any good? Now, here is somebody that I knew and trust, literally trust, like big time trust, right? Very dear friend for the last 50 years. And even him, I said, well, let me go ask Google to get responses of strangers I've never met. Right? Let me get their opinion because if they said, "Hey, it's not so good," I probably would have passed on it. And as it turned out, they got good reviews too. But it's interesting. We just don't go by just what our friends tell us. That even with realtor referrals, if they say, "Hey, whatever, Susan's the loan officer you want to use," people are then going to do a little homework to see what other people's opinion of Susan. Chris, if I want to get more information or talk to you guys about helping me with this, or what do we do here?
So we got a link set up. It's toploai.com. So toploai.com. That will take you to a calendar link where you can book a call. This is just as much about you vetting us as it is about us vetting you, because what we're looking for is people that already have reviews, that that understand what we're doing here long term,
Mhm.
and we're looking for people to partner with so that we can get a result, get you ranked in your local marketplace in the 3 pack, but also work on getting you ranked inside the GPTs as well. Um, a lot of markets are sold out at this point. If your market is sold out, we'll let you know ahead of the consult. We're not going to waste your time. But we only take 2 clients per market because there's only 3 spots on Google, which is going to be your short-term win. And then long-term, we really believe that there's really only going to be an opportunity to put 2, maybe 3 businesses in the AI as well. So go to toploai.com, fill it out. We'll reach out to you ahead of time. We'll give you some resources and just make sure that it's a good fit on both sides. And then we'll have a call with you and make sure that it's a good fit.
Toploai.com. And so you guys help with the Google and the AI placement. Is that how it works?
Yeah, what we've done is we've just taken both. We were going to launch it as its own program and just be like, hey, you can buy, SEO on Google over here, and you can buy getting ranked inside AI over here. And what we decided to do is A, just give it to all of our existing customers. And then B, let's just package this together because one helps the other. They work simultaneously. So we just packaged it in, and we haven't raised the price yet. So we will be in the future, but for everybody that gets in, you're locked in on your pricing and you get the benefits of being, somewhat of a beta group in helping us figure this stuff out.
It's like rent control in New York City, paying $400 a month for a 3 bedroom, 2 bath condo on Central Park. It's awesome. So great. Hey man, good stuff, Chris. We'll be talking more about this because this is truly. I mean, we're definitely seeing a pivot from this Google to the AI search, and they're both important. And I can see like tying them in together is going to be like 1 + 1 = 8
Yeah.
instead of just 2. So very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff, man. Yeah, as far as consumer direct, I think this is going to spank any kind of a mailer or anything like that you can do. God knows I've spent literally tens of thousands of dollars on direct consumer mailers. Man, I struggled with them. Like I did. I just struggled with them. And the online stuff, very interesting. Yeah, I saw a thing. I know we got to get out of here, but I saw a thing. It was uh, it was 11% of all loans that closed found their loan officer through online search. Now
No
they
way.
didn't. Yeah, 11%. Now that for some of you that might not sound like a huge number, but understand this. On that same study, this was a big, huge national study. Um, on that same one that gave search both Google and AI at 11% of all loans found their loan officer that way. Only 3% was social media.
Yeah.
So you see all the energy that and me too, right? Me too. All the
Mm-hmm.
energy we spend in social media accounts for grand total nationwide. 3% of all loans are found that way.
Yeah.
And so the online search is 375% more than the online search. I'm not saying to stop the online. I'm not saying to stop the social media. I'm just saying it's 3%. It's not
Mm-hmm.
30%. I was shocked by that number. I thought it was going to be higher than that. So it was very
Yeah.
interesting. So good
It's
stuff.
crazy.
All right, man. Toploai.com. Chris, I love you, man. You've led me in the right direction here for well over a decade now. I'm a better off human being because of you. My business is better off because of you. I think you're just an amazing guy, and I really appreciate you, brother.
Right back at you, Carl. And thanks for having me on the show. And yeah, thanks for
All right.
listening, everybody.
Let's get out of here. So toploai.com. Do us a big favor. If you thought this episode was helpful, obviously go to the link. And then we always appreciate those rankings on Google and on the podcast. So give us a review, just an honest one. We always appreciate that. And we'll see you on the next episode.